We're just outside Bury St Edmunds and a little hamlet or little village of Wordwell, and this is the Church of All Saints. Though it's in a peaceful spot, it is actually on the edge of a fairly busy road. So, welcome to Wordwell Church. There's a big gate here to the church. A little graveyard that's surrounded by flint wall. There's a family plot by the look of it. This is a beautiful little church. Somebody's got some food for the birds here. All the graves here are very old. Oh, there are some new ones there, more recent ones.
In the memory of Isaac Powell, who died in March 1820, aged 62 years, and the memory of Fanny, his widow, who died 17th of February 1850, aged 84 years.
So that's a joint stone, headstone that's been there for some time. This part of the grass is cut, and therefore people can drive off the main road here and park when the service is on. See that the original church is probably this section with an extension at the back, and at the same time perhaps they added the windows, replaced them. Difficult to tell without studying history of it. It's a charming little church. This is a church that was, you can imagine, that was built by the local people of the village or hamlet, all the farming people that lived nearby. It's so well kept. The grass is trimmed around the side of the church, and here we've got this unusual tower, unusual design, a Suffolk. This to me looks a Victorian addition. The design of this flint is identical to the church that's very close to this one, the one at Culford, and you can see obviously the difference in the flint at the side. So I would say that the tower was an addition to the original church. This is a lovely design feature at the bottom here with the flint and the stone. Around the side of the church here they've got gravel and grass. Very neat, very lovely. And they've left this part of the churchyard wild for animals, wildlife. Side door. Quite a lot of detail. But the door itself looks very old. It's a very small church. It certainly doesn't take long to walk around it. You can see where it's been repaired and cared for over the years. Lovely headstone. Look at the design on that. That's beautiful. And a beautiful patina to it. It's just fabulous. Two angels. Got crosses and a very large monumental grave there. So we'll have a look inside this church. There's some recent graves. Little thing to clean your feet as you come into this door here. Now we've got this beautiful Victorian porch, open to the elements, netting to keep the birds out, but absolutely lovely. Really neat flint work. this porch is very weathered inside, as it's open to the elements, and the beautiful floor here. It's wearing, but with all the age and the weather, but it's beautiful. There's a notice here. This church is the Church's Conservation Trust. The same people that run Seppiston that we visited recently. There's some motives in stone carved above the door. They look as if they could be perhaps hunting dogs. It's a lovely old stone entrance. We're greeted with, actually I'm stunned with, this is beautiful. The walls are unpainted, and it gives such a natural feel, a feeling of age, and a feeling that time has stood still. There's a visitor's book on the font which we'll sign. We step up to the rear of the church. It's worth noting that the church is full of old pews with beautiful carvings. A small one here. And the pews fill the church. They look extremely old. Perhaps early Victorian or even late 18th century. God. Stained glass window here with a little opener, I believe. That's what this is for. The top. That's lovely. It's probably a Victorian window. And obviously this has been rendered and repaired probably again in Victorian times. The ceiling is wood and infilled, give a very busy effect. It's lovely, strange, all the struts on that. So we just look down the church. I think this gives us a clear indication that this was two buildings, or at least this was one building, and then a little part at the end was added. And in the process they created the lovely arch and alcoves. Maybe this wasn't even a church because the tower was added. Perhaps this was just a big barn. So here we've got an alcove, a small little pew. Some figures up above, they look fairly new. These pews look of a different age to the others. These look newer and certainly Victorian. They are magnificent. Very ornate. Very, very ornate. Look at that. And each one is different. Got candelabra hung from the ceiling. And another Victorian leaded window with some coloured glass in terms of border, and lovely little window pieces at the top with stone glazing bars. Beautiful, beautiful design. This is on its own here with an alcove, and all the stonework here is fabulous. And the pulpit is remarkable. This is difficult to say how old this is. I suspect this is not that old. It looks almost as if it's cast in stone, concrete. It looks like stone, but I'm not certain on that. It looks to me fairly new. This church looks as if it's been restored fairly recently, and restored in a manner that's sympathetic to the age of it. The light at the side, candle. We step up to the altar area, which is effectively a second building. And though this is old, it has a feeling of reproduction about it. There's a memorial here. We've got all clear leaded glass windows with just borders. The two at the side have got remarkable designs. They are absolutely stunning. The one on this side is the same. The one behind the altar is more simple in design. This is the door behind here that goes to the outside world. And the floor in this part is made up of tiles with a charming design. We look down into this very short, the word stubby comes to mind, and that it's not fair in terms of describing it. It's got a strange feel about it, this church. I don't mean strange in an odd way. It just, because it's unpainted, it's slightly contrived. But the overall effect is wonderful, just and different. Got a variation of floors here with the red and black tiles and brick, which I think are fairly new. It gives the impression of a church that was in quite a forlorn state, perhaps, and it's been restored very sympathetically and been done to create an effect which has worked very well, actually. Nice to see that the church is open for visitors. This floor looks older here. Got a metal bar here to hold the door from the wind. So in the middle of the Suffolk countryside, here's this beautiful little church, All Saints in Wordwell. How can I describe it, but maybe just charming. Sweet little churchyard. Blossom here in the corner. It's a windy day and it's a little chilly, but the church is warm and friendly. Beautiful. Lovely place to visit.